Live. I think we're live, yeah. Good afternoon and welcome to the On the Edge Middle Distance Triathlon briefing. Here we've got some people watching, so thank God it's got some pictures. It's actually worked. The text worked, and you're actually there. So this is live, so don't expect it to be super polished. I'm going to switch YouTube off. Get rid of all this. There we go. There's always some kind of technical mishap. That's why people watch these things. If you're there and you're watching, please feel free to make some comments on the screen. They'll come up on our screen here. If you can type your name at the start of the message, then it will come up on our screen and we can actually refer to you by name, which is a bit nicer as well. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook, then like I say, feel free to make any comments you like, as long as they're nice, and ask any questions, and we'll go through the questions at some point. We've got lots of questions that you guys have sent in along the way already, so we'll go through those as well. And yeah, so the idea this afternoon is to pretty much obviously go through the briefing, but we're going to more or less go through the document that you guys should have all been sent. If you haven't been sent it, then let us know. Okay, so the best thing to do is drop an email to inquiries@do3.co.uk, and Sarah Jane will be like a coiled spring waiting to reply to that. So, should we do some introductions? Do you want to go first, Corinne? This is Corinne, by the way.
I'm Corinne. I'm one of the coaches and event organisers with Dave and Sarah Jane.
Is that it? There's more to you than that.
That's me. That's all there is to me.
I'm Dave Knight. I'm the head coach and I guess the owner or founder or whatever you want to call me of Do3. Yeah, responsible for many things such as crazy ideas like putting a race on, which is why we're here today. Okay, so again, if you've got any questions, then pop them on the screen. They'll pop up our end. So I hope you've had your race pack and you've read through it, because it's got all the information, or the vast majority of information, I should say, that you're going to need for the race. I'm sure there'll be a few questions which haven't been covered, which you can obviously, like I say, fire them on the comments box, and they'll come up on the screen our end. So it's a few days now till race day. I'm hoping you trained. It'll be a bit late to start training if you haven't already started training, but hopefully you're in good shape and you're looking forward to race day. Hopefully your equipment is all ready and all that kind of stuff is all fired up and ready to go. And yeah, I guess all you need to do now is have a nice rest this week and get yourselves ready to come and have a great day. So this is our first event at COMPTON VERNEY. We run open water swimming sessions there 3 times a week. And we have been for quite some time now. Very popular open water swimming sessions. So we're very used to the venue. We're very used to kind of running operations and running events from there. So we are. It's like our second home, isn't it? It's quite
very much so. It's a lovely venue.
Yeah, we're quite lucky to have it as our second home. So those of you, I'm sure there'll be some of you who haven't been to COMPTON VERNEY before, but it's absolutely beautiful. It's an art gallery, and it's the grounds are all landscaped, a capability brown designed landscape, and he actually kind of landscaped the lake and all that kind of thing. So the lake you'll be swimming in is a capability brown designed landscape, designed lake. That's pretty impressive anyway. So obviously you'll get to look around the grounds and things when you come on race day. I'm sure you'll be worrying about the race first of all, but afterwards, and I'm sure you'll want to come back and visit at some point once you kind of come back down to earth again.
The actual gallery itself won't be open on the day, but the grounds will be.
Yeah. So we do have the whole ground. So we're effectively taking on the whole of COMPTON VERNEY in its entirety for the day. So we're going to be able to spread out quite a bit and enjoy the surroundings. That's going to be really nice.
And there's plenty of space for spectators as well. So if you've got friends and family who want to come and cheer you on, by all means bring them along. There's lots of lovely spots for watching, and it will help create a nice atmosphere. Been able to have at races very much in the last couple of years. So get them to come along.
It's going to be nice to actually have some spectators and have a big bunch of people there. So it's going to be a big day for you. It's a big day for you, obviously. It's a big day for us, and we've been working hard as we can behind the scenes to try and put as good a race on as possible. And anyone who's been to any of our other events in the open water will know that we try and look after everybody and do the very best we can to make everything run as smoothly as possible. So fingers crossed, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen on the day as well. It's all going to go smoothly. You're not going to notice any people running around with like headless chickens at any point in moment in time. It's all going to be fine. Okay, so I'm going to run through the schedule first of all. So we have 2 registration periods available. We are opening registration on the Saturday evening. So you can actually come from 7 till 9 p.m. on the Saturday to register early. We would like it, if possible, if it's convenient to you, to come along and register on that particular day, because it'll make things smoother on the morning of the race. Of course, if you can't do that, it's absolutely fine. But myself as an ex-athlete, and Corin as an athlete, yeah, well. It's always been my favoured approach to go and register early, so that you've got more time just to kind of get yourself ready in good time on the actual day of the race. So registration is open 7 till 9 at the actual registration venue, which is in your athlete guide. It's the same place as it will be on Sunday morning. The only difference is that you'll be able to park in the actual COMPTON VERNEY, the normal COMPTON VERNEY car park, on the Saturday evening, not Sunday morning. Okay, I'm going to say that about 50 times this afternoon. You can't park there Sunday morning. You've got to park elsewhere. Okay, so yeah, pre-registration 7 to 9 Saturday, and I think Joe's going to be there Joe's going to be there from Cyclists Fighting Cancer, who's our on-site mechanic, and he's going to be looking after the mechanics and a bit of a emergency mechanic on the day as well. So Joe's going to be there on the Saturday evening. So if you get to the venue and you suddenly realise, well, if your wheel's fallen off, then it probably can't do much with that. But if there's anything you're kind of panicking about in terms of your bike, hopefully Joe will be able to have a look at that for you and see what he can do for you. So he's going to be there on Saturday evening. And Nerf Red are going to be there. So the retailer that we're working with on Saturday, Nerf Red, they're going to be there for you to pick up some last-minute bits and bobs. So some race belts or whatever you can. What could you forget? Tri-suit. Goggles,
water bottle, my usual one.
All that kind of stuff. So they'll be there to pick up the last minute bits and bobs on the Saturday evening. Is there anything else about the Saturday?
No, I don't think so. We won't be having bike racking on the Saturday though. All bike racking is on Sunday. So yeah, you'll don't worry about you bringing your bike on Saturday, because there won't be anywhere to leave it overnight.
Yeah. Okay. So the Sunday, the big day. So 4:30. Well, registration opens at 4:30. Registration opens at 4:30. I thought that was someone saying they couldn't hear us then. They would have been waffling on. There's no sound. We've got some comments coming through, so keep those coming. We'll have a look through those in a minute. Registration opens at 4:30. So don't come too early, because if you come too early, you probably won't get in. But registration opens at 4:30, and we suggest you kind of start to arrive kind of 4:15 or thereabouts. Try not to come any earlier than that, because our car parking staff won't be there yet. So kind of 4:15ish, we'll make sure someone's there and show you into the car park. So that you were using an overflow car park for COMPTON VERNEY for the day of the race, which is a field at the top of the hill. There will be signs off the main road. I need to tell you some details about the change of entrance for that, which is different to your athlete guide. So you're going to be coming off the main road and following the marshals, who will be directing you towards your parking space. Okay, so I might as well talk about the road now. So in the athlete guide, it was asking you to enter the car park. There will be signs asking you to come into the car park from the it's the 4086, I think, isn't it? The 4086, which is the main. It's the road between the Fossway and Kyneton. Okay, it's the road between those two. I think it's the 4086. So yeah. We were going to get you to come in off that entrance, but for various reasons we can't use that entrance as it turns out on the day. So we've had to make a bit of a last minute change, and there is another entrance just around the corner on the Fossway into the car park. Effectively takes you into the same place. All right. So again, it's off the Fossway. You come to the car park via the entrance on the Fossway. Again, follow the signs and the car park marshals will look out for you there. Okay. Once you've got all your gear together, you parked your car, you've got all your gear together, you want to walk, you're going to follow everybody else, and there'll be some signs there, and we're going to bring you down, you're going to be coming down a hill to the kind of, it's almost like the back entrance, if you like, past the back of the house into COMPTON VERNEY grounds. All right, so you bring all your gear down, bring your bike down, and get yourself kind of heading towards registration, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's going to be dark, okay? It's going to be dark, and it's a field, so there isn't street lights or anything like that. So we do suggest you bring some head torches or a torch of some description just to help you if it is a little bit dark, because it's down a hill and it's grass, okay? It should be fine. You'll be okay. The sunrise, or not sunrise, but the light will be starting to kind of show a little bit, so you should be okay. But just so as you're aware, try and, if you can, remember to bring a torch. Once you actually arrive down on COMPTON VERNEY, kind of grounds proper, if you like, the roadway's got little lights along the side of it, and there'll be more light around. But certainly going down that grassy bank, then just take your time going down there, and yeah, bring some lighting. Anything else that you can think about in terms of arriving on site?
No, we just had one question about when can you arrive if you're booked in for camper van, so arriving on the Saturday for that. Can we do that from
Yeah. So COMPTON VERNEY obviously is open to the public. It is an art gallery. It's open to the public on the Saturday till 5 o'clock, which is why we can't get access till after that. So any time after 5 will be fine. We will have staff from around about 5 o'clock there. So the best thing to do for that, if you're going to come and park your camper van or your caravan, is to come into the main proper car park and park in the first car park you come to. Park in the first car park you come to on the right-hand side as you come through the gates. We'll make sure that someone's there at 5 o'clock-ish to welcome you. So that's the best thing to do, and we'll kind of point you in the right direction. You will actually be camping in one of the car parks you will have just driven past, because there's another one which is fenced off. So we'll get you to move once we've had a chat to you. But first of all, you just come into the main car park, park in the first car park on the right that you can actually access, and we'll come and have a chat to you there. So from 5 o'clock onwards. Okay.
Yeah. And obviously Jerry has just asked that question, is obviously booked in, but just a reminder, if you are planning to come on the Saturday and you want to camp, you must be booked in either a camper van or a caravan. There's no tent parking now on site, so if you do want to book a camper van or caravan space, then you must let us know urgently, please.
Yeah. Okay. So you've parked your car, you've walked down the hill, you're now going to make your way to registration, and that's quite straightforward. Again, most of you will be following the crowd, but if you're the first one there, you're going to come into the grounds, you're going to turn left and follow the road all the way down to effectively back towards the main entrance. In fact, let me see if I can just get this on the screen here so I can show you where we're going. Just give me 2 seconds, I'll just share this. Hopefully it's this one. There we go. So the event car parking here, you can just see it here, this orange area. You're going to walk down the grassy bank here to the footpath, and then, as you see, you can effectively just follow the road down. And the registration area it's actually the COMPTON VERNEY Welcome Centre. It'll be clear, and you'll be able to follow everybody else. You'll walk past transition to get to that area, and you'll actually walk past the Welcome Centre, and you'll see there's a big car park, the main car park for COMPTON VERNEY, which we're not using on the morning of the race, is going to be there, and that's going to be the area where you're going to be queuing up. And once you've been registered, you're going to be able to get your bike ready and get all your gear ready. There's going to be plenty of space there on race day. So you're going to walk down to registration. Get myself back to where I was. Walk down to registration, and there should be nice, clearly marked areas for you to queue up and get your race pack. Okay, so your race pack is going to contain your numbers for your helmet and for your bike. What else is going to be in there? There's going to be
your bib number to go on your race belt or to be pinned on. A wristband. So you'll need to wear your wristband at all times during the race and to be able to access transition. And what else is in there? There's a list.
I think that's pretty much yeah.
Yeah,
It's mostly the numbers that's going to be in there in the wristband. We're also going to be marking your hands with your race number as well. So that's because we're going to be lining you up in race number order, because you're going to be going off in race number order, and the race number is going to be allocated based on your swim times, with the fastest swimmers going first. All right, so that's why it's really important that you get your pre-race questionnaire completed with your predicted swim times, and there's other things on there like your club and things like that. So make sure you get those swim times put in if you haven't done that already. Otherwise, you might find you're bunched at the back with all the unknown swim time people. And the idea of the kind of effectively the time trial type of swim is that you have a much more stress-free swim. Is probably the best way of putting it. We're going to spread you out. We've still got kind of the leftover kind of guidance and guidelines, whatever you want to call it, in terms of COVID. So we are still trying to spread people out as much as we can. So that's going to help a little bit with that. But yeah, please make sure you do that. So your hand's going to be marked with the marker pen, and then you're going to go away and get yourself ready and get your bike ready and get all your nutrition ready and that kind of stuff prior to going to put your bike in transition and get yourself kind of finally ready for the race to start. All right.
We've got 2 queries on registration. One, Catherine, yes, a hat will be in the race pack.
Yeah,
as well.
that's the other thing that's in there.
That's one of the other things that's in there. So yes, well done for spotting that one. And your hat will be either pink or yellow. Well, it will be pink for middle distance. If you've got a yellow hat, you're in the wrong race, because that's for the sprint distance. So it should be a pink hat in your race pack. We've also had a question from Chelsea. Can her boyfriend, who's also racing, collect her number on her behalf, or as she's not going to be able to get there on Saturday night, but he'll be registering them?
Yes, I guess so, as long as we bring some ID.
Yeah, because we do need, if you're registered as a BTF entry, we will need your BTF card and number. If you're not BTF member, he will need to bring some ID. How do we go about ID for?
Well, it was some kind of photo
Chelsea,
ID,
but Chelsea won't be there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have a think about that. And we'll come back to that.
We'll just check if we're allowed to do that, Chelsea. But
yeah.
I think it should be fine. Otherwise, you can register on the Sunday morning.
If there's anything that we need to clarify, we'll come back to you guys individually.
We've got another question. If we register on Saturday, what time should we aim to arrive on the Sunday morning? That's very much down to personal preference. Some people like to get there really, really early. I'm one who will get there 2 hours before the race, because I just want to make sure that I've got everything set up and ready and time to just chill out before the race. Other people would rather have an extra hour in bed and get there. As long as you allow yourself time to get everything into transition before it closes at 6:45, then that's up to you. So it'll be a quarter of an hour walk up to quarter of an hour walk down from the parking to transition. So I would say your suggestion at 6 o'clock would be fine, as long as you're comfortable with just an hour before your race. Yeah.
We're going to have a lot of people register as well. So it would be nice if people are spread out as much as possible. Please don't all aim to turn up at 6:30 and make us run around absolutely panicking. Knowing races as I do, most people, like Corinne says, turn up early, so I can't anticipate that being a huge issue.
I think Ali is registering on the Saturday anyway, so
okay, all right, that's fine. Okay. Can you see those questions? I can't see that far.
Yeah, I think that's your other half.
Is it?
Yeah. There will be tea and coffee ready for those early people.
Yeah, tea and coffee will be there. Don't worry.
Tea,
coffee, and cake.
Cakes and food. Yes. So spectators there will be food available while the athletes are faffing around getting stuff ready in transition. So yes, you will be well provided for.
Okay, so that's registration. Registration for the middle distance race from 4:30 to 6:30. Then transition is going to be open from 4:30. So as soon as you've registered, you can go in and rack your bike. And transition will actually close at 6:45. Okay, so 15 minutes before race start. So please, again, make sure that you allow plenty of time. Okay, because the race will start on time. And if you're not there, then you'll be slotted in somewhere else more appropriate towards the back of the field. So let's try and make sure everyone's where they should be. And again, as always with these things, try and make it as stress-free as you can for yourself by allowing plenty of time. If you do that, it'll make it less stressful for us too. All right. So yeah, transition will close, and we will clear people from transition. Okay. So that's really important that you realise that. So you need to get in there, rack your bike, get your bike ready with all your gear, and then clear transition. All right, because we won't be letting people back in until, well, the next time you will see transition will be actually during a race when you're coming out of the swim and getting onto the bike.
Did you mention about helmets and numbers?
No, not yet.
Registration.
No, do you want to cover that?
Yeah, can do. Just as a reminder, transition is only open to athletes who will be racing. You can't take anybody else into the transition with you. So no friends, family, children, dogs, anything. You must be racing to go into transition. You need to be wearing your helmet done up going into transition to be checked, and you also need to be wearing your wristband with a number on, and have your bike already numbered before you go into transition. So as David said, there'll be plenty of space near transition for you to be able to put your stickers on your helmet and your bike, and make sure that you're wearing those when you go into transition. You will also, the marshals in transition may also check your bike. You need to make sure that your brakes are done up. If you've put your bike in the car and taken your wheels off, you will need to make sure that your brakes are done up. So they may check that, and they will also check your helmet and numbers. So do make sure that you're ready so we can get people through into transition as quickly and smoothly as possible.
Okay, yeah, good. Again, if you've got any more questions about any of this kind of stuff, got plenty of questions popping up, so we will scan through those as and when we go.
Just picked up will we have set positions in transition? Yes, racking will be numbered in transition, so you will have your own allocated space. So there's not going to be a mad dash for the best positions. All the positions should be fair in terms of the way the transition is set up. So make sure you rack your bike on your number, and you will be racking your bike towards you with the handlebars towards you and facing your number. So make sure you have it racked on the right side. If you're not sure, please ask the marshals in transition.
There were people about. Okay, so you then racked your bike. You're going to head towards the swim start. There will be people kind of ushering you in the right kind of direction, because effectively you head back towards the back of the welcome centre and cut through. There's a small wood there by the side of the lake. You cut through the wood, and there's a nice little path for you to wait. It's beautiful around there, so it's a nice little. It's probably one of the nicest waits you have before a race. So you'll be queuing up along the path, waiting for your for your race to start. The race will start at 7 a.m. Okay, and again, you will be going in twos. I think we'll go through the swim start and the swim in a second, a little bit more detail. So race starts at 7 o'clock. So you're going to be racing. Then, just so as you know what's happening in terms of transition reopening for bike collection, transition will open again for bike collection 2 o'clock. Yes, it is 2 o'clock. Yeah, I was thinking of the sprint. So 2 p.m. for bike collection. Okay, and then prize giving is going to be around about that time as well. But listen for the announcements on the PA system, because some of that may be subject to change a little bit. But that's certainly the way it's planned at the moment. Just to obviously touch on race briefing. Very often races pre-COVID would have a race briefing on the day. This is your race briefing, so there won't be anything else happening on the day. Just scan through what else we've got in here. So we do have some leftover kind of remnants of things that we're trying to stick to in terms of COVID and keeping people safe. So I'm just gonna run through some bullet points here just to make sure that we're kind of making you aware of the things that we're trying to do. So first of all, it's obvious really. Please don't attend the venue if you do feel unwell or you suspect that you may have COVID, or obviously if you've tested positive for COVID or anything like that. Please do not attend the venue. We don't want to put anyone in any unnecessary risk. Don't attend the venue if you've been instructed to isolate by NHS Track and Trace. Obviously, keep yourselves clean in terms of washing your hands thoroughly and regularly. We will be having hand sanitizer around the place for you to keep your hands sanitized. Try and respect people's social distance as much as you can, albeit it is a race. But if you know what I mean, try and keep as much distance as you can. And if you have any directions from the Do 3 staff in terms of just trying to space yourselves out a little bit, try to take it the way it's intended, and try and listen to what they're saying to you. It's obviously being done for the right reasons. Wearing face coverings outdoor now is pretty much up to you guys, but we do ask you that you consider wearing those, particularly if you're queuing up or you're in close proximity to lots of other people. So, and I'm particularly thinking here about queuing up to register. Obviously, we're not expecting you all to be wearing race masks when you're queuing up to swim, because what are you going to do with them afterwards? You're certainly not going to swim in them, are you? But certainly when you're queuing up to register, and maybe when you're in the transition area, getting your bike ready and things like that. And obviously, apart from that, it's maintaining gaps from other competitors during the race. So we will briefly cover the drafting rules a little bit later, and the drafting rules will naturally, obviously on the bike, will naturally start to will make sure that you're all spread out and that kind of thing as well. All right. We encourage you to carry out a lateral flow test before coming to the event, just to keep everybody else as safe as possible. So if you can consider doing that for us as well, that would be brilliant. Anything else at that point, Corin, that you can think of?
No, I don't think so. So the lateral flow test, we won't be asking for results or anything, but we do want to try and make sure we keep everyone as safe as possible. It is a gathering of quite a large number of people, so we want to make it as low risk as we possibly can. And even though guidance has been relaxed, still please think about everybody else and how they might be feeling about COVID and social distancing, not just how you feel. So yeah.
Okay. Just going back to parking again, just some notes popped up on my screen here in terms of the parking side of things. It's going to be very early. There are residents around there, so please, I know it's you're all going to be very excited. And you're going to see long lost friends and all that kind of thing. But please, let's not have any parties on the grassy bank on the way down to the actual kind of venue itself. Although my memory from races is everyone's kind of looks like they're walking to their graves or something on the way to races. It's all kind of head down and all this kind of stuff because people are panicking. But the point I'm making is please try and keep the noise down, because there are residents. You're walking past the back of some houses at the back there. So when you're walking down the grassy bank, just try and keep the noise to a minimum. When you're on site, it's not so much of a problem, but certainly just when you're walking down from the car park, please bear that in mind. We've covered spectators, so yeah, there's lots of room for spectators to hang around during the day. You can swim. You can see the swim really nicely because you can be on the house side of the lake, and you'll get a really good view of the swim. And the iconic bridge at Compton Verney is going to be actually it's moderate for spectating in terms of there's going to be people racing across it, but as long as we keep our whereabouts, then you'll be able to kind of watch from there as well. There's going to be food there, so there's going to be the Shed Cafe are going to be there. They're going to have a couple of what do you call them, pods for you to order some food. Maybe not before the race, but certainly spectators during the race, and obviously afterwards. We've got some Henley ice cream are going to be there, and T&B Cakes, who make the best cakes on the planet. It's run by my daughters.
They are very good.
Yeah, very good. So they're going to be as well. So there's going to be some opportunity for you to get some food and sustenance during the day if you're a spectator, and obviously something for yourself afterwards. We've mentioned Nerf Red will be there. Is it Nerf Red?
I think it's Nerf Red.
Nerf Red will be there on race day again for you to have a look at their gear.
So for those of you who don't know who they are, they're an online triathlon store. So they'll have all sorts of general triathlon related merchandise. So hopefully any of the last minute bits and bobs that you may have forgotten, but also some goodies that you might want to have a look at. And we'll have some stuff as well. We will have some what they're called, changing robes. We'll have some changing robes for you to look at, which are very, very good. We've got sweatshirts and other things, woolly hats and all sorts of things. So yeah. Hopefully we won't need woolly hats. Every triathlete has a woolly hat for race morning. Oh dear, where's that gone? Where are you? This one. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you. Is this going to work? Hopefully you can see that there.
Just covering what's where in terms of the layout of Compton Verney. So this over here on the left-hand side is the main house. We've already said you're going to walk down from the car park along over the bridge, and registration is down here. I saw a question pop up, will there be toilets? There's going to be loads of toilets. So there's going to be toilets by registration. There's toilets in the welcome centre. There's toilets over by the main building. You can just see the little toilet signs on the sign there. So there's plenty of toilets around. Transition is there on the grass. It's going to be a grassy transition. There should be plenty of room in there. It goes down between the big line of trees. So it's quite a nice scenic transition area, isn't it? You're going to be going in the top and out the bottom during the race for that. And then you've got a little event HQ, and food and retail are going to be in this little area in the middle there. The area you'll all be looking forward to, which is the finishing line over in front of the main house, on the lawns in front of the house. So that's the layout of the actual kind of site itself. Let's come back on here. Scroll down the questions, yeah. So, what have we got next?
There's a couple of questions while Dave's just looking at that about the sprint triathlon. There is a separate sprint triathlon briefing on Wednesday. So just to answer the two questions that have come up, the sprint starts at 8:30, and the sprint transition actually closes at 7:15. So it will be after the middle distance race has started, but they will be clear of transition by the time the middle distance swimmers come out. James, can spectators bring well-behaved dogs?
That's another good one. I think we're going to have to get back to you on that. The issue with that is if we give a blanket, everyone can bring dogs, then we can end up with masses of them, and we have to kind of be a little bit careful. So I think we'll put some information out about.
We'll just check
dogs.
With Compton Verney on.
Yeah, we'll check with Compton Verney as well.
What their rules are on the day.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, we do have to stick to Compton Verney's rules and guidelines as well, so we will check that, like Corin says, and we'll get back to you. Okay, so just scanning through the document again. There's something we in terms of the registration pack, we've already covered what's in there. Your swim hat, safety pins, and your numbered wristband. So you'll have everything you need in there. Please complete the emergency contact details on the back of your race number, just in case anything happens. We need to get hold of your emergency contact. So that is really important. I must admit, in previous races, I haven't done that. I've had a tendency not to do that, but please, now we're race organisers, I realise the importance. So please get those filled out.
Obviously, we have got emergency contact details on our system for you all, but it's a whole lot quicker if the emergency services come to you to be able to contact your whoever they need to contact straight away, without having to come back to us and look on the system to get your details. So it is important. Yeah, like Dave says, I don't always fill them in either, but it is a whole lot easier for the emergency services if they've got your emergency contact details on you at the time of whenever they need to contact somebody.
Yeah. Okay, so transition, we've already mentioned that, closes at 7:15, so 6:45, and Corin's already covered what we need to do in terms of getting your bike ready and your helmet and that kind of thing. Just something that's kind of reminded me on here, relay team members are allowed to re-enter transition, because of course you've got to wait for your relay member to come in, so you are allowed back in transition as part of that.
Yeah, so if you're the bike or if you're the cyclist, obviously you can go in when the swimmer's in. The runner, please wait until the cyclist is out. So the runner, well, it'd be an awful long wait if you went in when the swimmer was in as well, but please wait until your previous teammate has gone out on their leg, rather than waiting the whole time in transition.
Just a quick mention in terms of marshals and race staff. The team at Do 3 is kind of the employed team, if you like. At Do 3 is quite a small team, and to put on an event of this nature, it does require a lot of help from volunteers. So the vast majority, in fact, we've got around about 100 volunteers for the day. So the vast majority of those are doing it because of the love of the sport and to kind of help you and assist you to have a good race. So please, if you can find any breath left over, just give them a wave and say thank you, because it's worth so much when people say thank you to them on the way around the course. What else have we got? Okay, so the course itself, it's taken us a long time to get to the actual course itself, hasn't it? So the middle distance race is a 1900 metre swim. Those of you who swim regularly at Compton Verney, you know our lap is 600 metres, so 3 laps would be 1800 metres. So we will be adjusting the boys slightly, but you probably won't notice all that much if you swim there regularly. But we're just going to be pushing the boys out a little bit to try and take it up to, or we will be taking it up to 1900 metres as best we can. An 87.5 kilometre cycle ride and a 20.5 kilometre run. In terms of the aid stations, in fact, what I'll do is we'll jump or go to the swim side of things, and then we'll talk about aid stations when we get to the relevant areas. Okay, so I think the best thing for me to do now is if I just show you the swim course. Here we go. So as you can see, we're swimming virtually the entire lap of the lake, or the whole kind of area of the lake, if you like. So again, if you guys are used to swimming at Compton Verney, you will notice that we are swimming the opposite way around. So we're swimming clockwise this time. All right, so you're obviously used to swimming anti-clockwise. So clockwise this time, you're going to be getting in at the just on the left-hand side of this little start area, turning immediately left and heading down towards the buoys. So we will have some nice big yellow buoys. You shouldn't miss them because they're, well, you can't, you stood behind one, we can't see you, can
they're
we?
As tall as me. They're about 5 foot tall.
Yeah, they're huge, so you won't be able to miss them. So you've got no excuses. So there's a buoy, as you can see there on the map there. There's a buoy which you want to swim to the left of the first buoy that you come to. Then you're going to do a right turn and another right turn at the bottom of the lake. And then there's one orange buoy which you actually have to swim on the right-hand side of. All right. So you got to try and remember that, and we will remind you as you're getting into the water. Try and get the guys to remind you as you're getting in. You have to swim on the other side of that, and that's to pull you away from the bank over here. All right. So swim on the right-hand side of the orange buoy, and then we're back to normal again, swimming on the left-hand side. Obviously, you guys are going to be doing 3 loops, so you're going to be going around that 3 times. So there will be people feeding in at the top of the lake here as you're coming through. So just be aware of that. It shouldn't be too many issues because you are going to be fairly well spaced out, so it shouldn't cause too many problems. So 3 laps, and then on the last lap, you're going to come all the way back up, take a right turn, and you will see the finishing area, which is right next to the kind of the get in, the start area, and you'll be climbing out at that point. Now, Compton Verney, let's put this back on so you can
say about counting laps.
Yep.
In terms of the swim, the 3 laps, it is your responsibility to count your laps. It's not. I think we had a question earlier in the week about whether we'd be doing an Australian exit, so where you get out of the lake and then back in. No, we will. You will be staying in the lake and doing 3 continuous laps, and it's up to you to count the 3 laps. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you get out after 20, if you get out after 6 minutes or 12 minutes, then we know you haven't done enough laps. But yeah, count your own laps. Okay, so just some extra information in terms of the get in and the get out area. So the start and the exit from the water. We are obviously in a very kind of beautiful environment, and the Compton Verney work really hard to keep the environment and the lake as pristine as possible. For that reason, the get in area and the get out area don't have huge, great big kind of concrete gantries for you to walk into. It's effectively a grassy bank and a pebbly bank down into the water, and it's a little bit uneven. So I really want you to be aware of that it's not going to be a beautiful kind of astroturfed entrance or anything like that. We're going to have 2 members of staff fully in wetsuits feeding you into the water. Okay. So the timing mat is going to be towards the edge of the lake. You're then going to be counted in and brought forward and then started off. Effectively, what you're going to do is you're going to step down into the water, and the water actually goes quite deep quite quickly. So you're going to be able to swim off, more or less take 1 step and then start to swim away.
There is matting on the bottom of the lake there, so You're not going to cut your feet or anything. So there will be matting, but it is a little bit uneven. So yeah, just take a couple of steps before you before you swim off.
Yeah. We would like to, well, actually, no, I wouldn't like to. We considered kind of steamrollering it all and flattening it all and building all this, that, and that, but the COMPTON VERNEY weren't massively keen on that. So we had to keep it nice and natural. And that's why it is, so we can keep it the way it be. Similarly, when you get out, we will have members of staff helping you get out. There will be a matted area. So again, we will be assisting you. It can be maybe a little bit of a scramble to get out. It's not too bad, but again, just so as you're aware, it's not a super clean exit. It's not a super clean exit. You're going to be on your hands and knees, getting yourself to your feet, and then people are going to be helping you up onto the actual grassy area.
It's not that bad.
No, I'm making it sound worse than it is. I just want to paint a picture that it's a race, and you've got to kind of, to a degree, you've got to kind of put up with it. Okay, so you're then going to run up the little grassy bank to the across the little path there, and you're going to head straight towards transition, which is, how far is it? About 50 metres, 75 metres, or something like that, maybe 100. It's not very far anyway. So you'll be able to see it from the get out.
And there is grass. You can either run on there's a tarmac driveway, or there's grass that you can run on, and both are fine. Both are clear.
It's nice, clean.
It's not gravelly or anything like that. So you should be able to run barefoot comfortably on up to transition.
Okay, so in terms of water temperature, we will be taking the official water temperature reading at
an hour before the
race.
By 6 o'clock in the morning, we will have the water temperature, and it won't be before that. So please don't ask at registration what the water temperature is, because they won't know. So it's part of the rules that we take the temperature an hour before the race. We do have a wetsuit exemption up to 25 degrees, so wetsuits are optional up to 25 degrees as long as it's over 14 degrees, which it will be. The water temperature at the moment is about 20 degrees, and looking at the forecast for the rest of the week, I don't think it'll be over 25 degrees by the time next Sunday comes along. So I think we're 99% sure that it will be wetsuits optional.
Yeah. So all of you panicking, I feel your pain. I feel your concern on that side of things. You should be good to go. But we'll absolutely confirm it. Say my priority is an hour before the race.
It has been over 25 degrees, but I don't think it will be. Sunday.
What was it? Not very long ago.
It got up to. If you take the surface temperature about 6 inches below the surface, it got up to 31.
Yeah, it gets warm.
But even so, we take the temperature 60 centimetres below the surface, and at that point it was about 26.5 still, but it won't be that temperature. I'm fairly sure by Sunday.
Just in terms of the water itself, obviously the water quality is tested regularly by us because we're there all the time with the open water side of things. The results always come back as excellent, and so we do test those things quite regularly. There are patches where you can feel some what are they called? Weeds.
Yeah.
I was going to say reeds. Reeds sounds much nicer than weeds, doesn't it? But you know what I mean. Vegetation. Vegetation. So there is. It's not too bad, but there will be some patches. So don't kind of freak out if you do feel the odd weed here and there. It's obviously a natural lake, and that's a consequence of being there.
There's not too much. This time of year, it's actually died back a little bit. So. It's not the kind of lake where you're kind of crawling through weeds or anything like that. It's
very good.
The occasional little bit, but not too much at all. So shouldn't be any issues.
Okay, so I'm just trying to find the map for transition. See if we can show you the map for transition. Where are we? Okay, so transition then. You try and find me the map for transition. Am I looking in the wrong place? Transition is a one-way system. You go in the top of transition, which is the end closest to the swim. Again, it's a kind of almost like a triangular transition with quite a narrow top, and then you'll obviously make your way to your bike, and then you'll be straight out the bottom end of transition. So it's a very straightforward one-way system. It's okay. You can't find it. It's quite straightforward.
It's only on the event. No, it's not actually. I'll keep going.
Okay, doesn't matter. So relay teams, you'll transfer your timing chip in transition. So your timing chip is your baton effectively. So you'll be passing that from one person to the next.
And you must transfer your timing chip before the cyclist puts their helmet on. So they can't wait by their bike with their helmet on and let you change the chip. They have to have the chip on their ankle before they put their helmet on, before they touch their helmet and their bike.
Yeah, that's really important.
Equally, if you're a solo, you must have your helmet on and done up before you touch your bike.
Okay. So onto the bike leg. So you're going to cycle out of the kind of the main grounds, through the main car park and out of Compton VERNEY, and turn left onto the road which heads towards the village of Kyneton. I'm not going to go through the course in fine detail here because most of you won't know what I'm talking about anyway. We'll have a quick look at the map just to kind of highlight any key areas, but we're not going to go in fine detail here. So you will turn left and head towards the village of Kyneton. Now, you may have kind of read in the athlete guides there, hopefully, that there are, unfortunately, traffic lights. They're building yet another housing estate, and there are traffic lights on just as you approach Kyneton. We've done everything we can to try and move them, but it's not happening. So they are going to be there, they are going to be operational, and you are going to have to stop at them. Okay, now this is really important because this is a potential area for getting disqualified. So really kind of pay close attention to the traffic light side of things. So effectively you turn left out of Compton VERNEY, head up a hill, and then you go over, can't see that, can you? Oh, and over the hill, and it's actually fairly steep downhill into the village of Kyneton. The traffic lights, unfortunately, are right at the bottom of that hill. So just when you're getting some nice speed up, there's some traffic lights there. Nothing we can do about it. The best way of putting it is you will go through if they're on green, and you will stop if they're anything other than that. Okay, that's probably quite a simple way of putting it, isn't it? Red, obviously, you stop. Amber, you stop. Okay, so there is no. We're trying to take away, and this is British Triathlon guidance anyway, isn't it? We're trying to take away that temptation for you to kind of try and time it and think that you can just nip through before the thing turns red. We can't have that because it's dangerous, and we also need to try and keep it fair for everybody. So you'll see the lights as you come down the hill. There may also be some traffic backed up because this obviously is a live road, albeit it's fairly early, but there may be some traffic there. So try and anticipate the likelihood of stopping is probably the best way of putting it. All right. We'll talk about what's going to happen in terms of timing and things in a minute. But if you think that there's any doubt whatsoever that that light is going to change, then you're going to have to stop. Okay, there's nothing we can do about it. And similarly, you don't go until those lights go green again. Okay, so if you're coming down the hill and you can see that you're approaching the bottom of the hill and the light is on amber, you have to stop if it's on amber and wait for it to go green. And that is a British Triathlon rule. You don't go through on amber. If you're coming down the hill and it's on green and it turns to amber just before you get to it, that's obviously that it would be unsafe to stop. But you must not go on amber. And if it turns to amber as you're coming down the hill, please be ready to stop. It's important, and as Dave said, this is a point where you risk disqualification if you do go through the lights when you shouldn't. There will be marshals at the traffic lights to make sure that, predominantly to make sure that you get your time back if you do have to stop, but also to watch out for people that are not doing what we just said. Okay, so there will be people there. In simple terms, you will get the time back which you are stopped for. So if the lights literally just turn red, I think we've timed it. Last time we timed it is 1 minute and 10 seconds, 1 minute and 11 seconds. They're on red for. Then if you literally just get caught and they're red, in fact if they're amber as well, we'll have to add that on as well. You will get all of that time back. Plus we're going to add on a period of time. At the moment we've got it at 15 seconds, but we're going to revisit that and we're going to add on some slowing down and re-accelerating back up to speed time as well. So you'll probably get another 15, 20 seconds on top of that. But we're going to be doing some more tests on that just to make sure we've got that absolutely bang on. It says 15 minutes in the documentation, but we want to, sorry, you won't get 15 minutes, 15 seconds. So please be assured we're doing everything we can to make it as safe as possible. Just in terms of that, we've had some feedback about alternative methods of us dealing with the traffic lights. We've investigated all the other methods, including getting off and walking through the pedestrian area, and it's just not safe to do so the way it's all laid out, and there's other parked cars and speed bumps and all sorts there. We just can't do it. All right, so this is the safest and the fairest way to do it. Okay, so hopefully that's covered that. Think anything else? You will then go out and do the loop of the course, and then you're going to come back and you have the same thing coming back, unfortunately. So it's the way it is, unfortunately. So you're going to come across those lights twice, and the same rules apply, and you will get your time back on both in and out.
Just another thing, in Kyneton, once you've gone past those lights, you'll come to a T-junction. We've got the sprint race and the middle distance race, obviously both happening on the same day. When you come to that T-junction, you will be turning left. So the sprint distance goes right, you go left. And there will be a marshal there shouting middle distance left, sprint right. Please try and remember which one you're going to anyway. So you're going left on that junction.
Yeah. That's the only T-junction like that, isn't it?
That's the only split on the course, yeah. Otherwise, just as long as you're following the bright yellow signs with black arrows, those are our signs. And so you just keep an eye on those. We have had several people ask us whether the route will be marked. Yes, it will be marked. So you don't have to have the course set on your Garmin or anything like that. In fact, it's probably safer to just go with the signs on the junctions, and there will be marshals at key points as well.
Okay, good. Just in terms of a general overview of the bike course and the way the bike course is kind of structured, if you like, it is fairly hilly over the first half is probably the best way of describing it. So there's a few lumps and bumps. We got Edge Hill, for example, or the back of Burton Dassett. So there are some climbs on the first half of the course. Go on, I can hear you. Go on. Are you going to say anything?
No.
Okay. I can hear you making. Yeah. Okay. Some people may consider it to be hilly or rolling or whatever you want to call it.
Rolling.
Okay, rolling. And then the second half, once you get to the top of Edge Hill Escarpment, is absolutely fantastic. I like hills, so I think the first half is fantastic as well.
Yeah, there are a few climbs on the first half. So.
It's a pretty special course. We're really pleased with it. It's absolutely beautiful. There's the sights and scenes and things that are very nice, and the course itself is obviously good for cycling as well. So there's a few climbs. You get to Edge Hill. Climb up Edge Hill, and I actually think Edge Hill's all right because you only actually kind of pop out halfway up, don't you? It's not the whole of Edge Hill; it's only half of it, but you do have to climb to get up to that half. So I guess you climb the whole thing. Across the top of Edge Hill Escarpment, and then there's a lovely descent down. I can never remember the name of the hill. What's the name
Wynyates Hill.
Wynyates Hill.
Yeah, it's beautiful descent. Really
it's a nice descent down there.
You've got the aid station at the top of Edge Hill.
Okay. Well, I guess we need to go through in a little bit more detail because there are some areas of the course that we need to kind of talk about. But just summarising, the second half of the course, nice and flat, nice and fast. Definitely a TT time trial second half of the bike course. I think the whole thing personally is a time trial type course, but that's obviously a matter for yourself and what you prefer to ride. It's certainly not mountainous and therefore a kind of more of a road bike course. I think there's very much a mixture in there. So let me just bring up the...
Somebody's put a comment, it's not all right. What does that mean? Does that mean that...
Right. It's not all
Edge
right.
Hill's not all right.
Is that a smiley? I can't see if that's a smiley face or a scary face.
I can't see that.
Okay, so...
It'll test your legs, but it's all right.
So it actually isn't hugely large on the screen here, but hopefully you can either kind of refer to your own document or you can see the best you can on there. Oh, there we go. I've just got an email from somebody. I'll get rid of that. Sorry about that. So first element, we're going to ride down into Kyneton. This is where the junction is, the T junction where we've said we need to turn left. We're going to be going up towards up the Lighthorn Road. There's a reasonable climb there. turning right. God, if you want to,
Yeah, no, it's
go
the
on.
next bit
Okay,
I'm
would
gonna
you?
comment on.
Yeah, okay. So, well, do you want to take it from here then? Because there's a bit through Lighthorn that you want to talk about, isn't there?
Yeah. So you come down the back of Compton Verney, down on a lovely sort of stretch along the top of the back of the estate, and then drop down and take a right turn up towards Lighthorn, and then another right turn. They're both, although they're right turn junctions, they're not busy junctions, so they should be fairly clear. Once you've taken that second right turn towards Lighthorn, we did discover on Friday that they have freshly dressed the road. So we have requested that they sweep it, but please be aware that that road from that second right turn down through Lighthorn, and it is a downhill section with a bend towards the bottom, or at the bottom, and that has been freshly surfaced. So we're hoping it will have been swept by then, but we can't confirm that at this stage. So please take care on the on that section, and be aware that there's a right bend at the bottom, and with the rain, there's a chance that it will have been, some of the gravel would have been washed down onto that bend. We will obviously go and check it before the race, but we just wanted to raise it that at this stage there's fresh gravel on that road.
Okay. There are several foot down points on the course as well, because the course is mostly on fairly quiet country lanes, but it does cross some larger roads. So there are a couple of foot down points which will be clearly marked, and there will be marshals on those points as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You're going to say something
Nope.
again. Okay, so the course continues to head out. We go up past kind of the Chesterton Windmill. So you may have seen some of the videos or something about the race. It's very nice along there. Chesterton Windmill. Do you look at the views when you're racing? Don't suppose you do, really, do you? But anyway, just in case. Down through Bishop's Itchington, out towards VERNEY, COMPTON. You are going through some villages, so just be careful in terms of parked cars and children and all that kind of stuff.
There's
the usual stuff.
Those villages.
Yeah, they're pretty quiet, aren't they? As you can see on the map, there's a little kind of mini mountain sign. So there's a hill there, which is the back of Burton Dasset. So that's not all I can remember is you riding off into the distance on those hills. But
it's a steady climb, that one. It's not a steep climb, but it's a steady climb over. How long would you say that one is?
For me, 10 minutes. They're 3 or 4 minutes. I think all the hills are kind of 3 or 4 minute type climbs. They're not colossal things by any stretch of imagination. So you get to the top of the hill, then you turn left and go down towards Farnborough. There's some kind of rollers across the top here, and it's again some nice views. Just be careful along this section in terms of oncoming traffic. It's going to be quiet, but please keep your wits about you, because there are some rollers. There's a couple of dips with some gravel in, and sometimes you can get a car coming the opposite way. So just try and be careful along that section towards Farnborough. We're then going to back across the motorway. You don't go. It's on a bridge. You don't go across the motorway.
Can I just point out, when you come out of Farnborough, the first course that we published back whenever it was changed, because there's now a road closure in Avon Dasset. So hopefully you will all have seen the latest route, which doesn't go to Avon Dasset. It goes to Warmington instead, to avoid that road closure. So you'll come out of Farnborough, and there's a right turn in Farnborough, again, another very quiet little road, but it is a right turn. And then you'll go round a bend, and rather than going straight onto Avon Dasset, you will turn left towards towards Warmington. There will be a marshal on that junction, but just in case you rode the route earlier on in the year, that bit will be different from the original route.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we now? We've got to Warmington. We are then going to where are we? We're heading down towards Edge Hill. So we actually kind of climb up the back. What's the village there? Alscott. Alscott. Yeah, through the village of Alscott.
Very pretty village.
Turn left onto Edge Hill. This sharp left turn here, and we go up just the short section of Edge Hill. Nothing too much to worry about there. And right at the top of the hill there, and there's a lay-by, will be your aid station. Okay, so the aid station, there's plenty of room there. We are not bottle swapping or anything like that, so it will be an aid station where if you do want to get something, then you will have to stop. There will be staff there to help you, so there will be X-Endurance gels, there will be bananas, there will be fresh water, and there will be pre-mixed Fuel 5 from X-Endurance as well. Okay, but you do have to stop and fill those bottles up from that point. It's again, it's a step on from what has been happening during COVID, but we realise it's still not as slick as a bottle swap. But again, that's the kind of the advice, and that's where we've ended up in that kind of position with the aid station there. So it's a matter of yourself whether you use those. You may want to be completely self-sufficient for a ride of this distance, but it's there for you as an option if you wish. Just while we're talking about aid stations, things like that, please be aware of that there's a littering rule. There's no littering anywhere on the course apart from the aid station. So there's going to be there's a kind of a designated area surrounding the aid station where you can drop your litter, and we'll obviously clear that up for you from there. But don't drop litter anywhere else on the course, please.
With the litter drop zone, please just be a bit considerate about where you do drop the litter on the road. It is a live road, so please just drop it to the edge of the road. But we want to try and avoid gel wrappers, cyclists actually cycling over gel wrappers. So just drop it to the edge of the road if you can, so it doesn't then become something that other cyclists might slip on.
Yeah.
And don't throw it into the hedge, obvious reasons.
Yeah.
There will be bins there, so if you can aim for the bins, that would be really helpful.
That'd be good.
But just think about where you drop it, please.
You could get bonus points, couldn't you? For getting in the bin.
You can get yourself 10 seconds knocked off if you hit the bin.
Okay, so you're then at the top. If you look at the elevation, the profile graph here, you're then at the top here. You're kind of cycling along the top, and you reach a peak just as you come along this section. So this is the kind of flat element here, and then is that right? Am I in the right place? And then we have a big descent all the way down here, which is the nice descent we were talking about as you head onto the kind of flatter element of the course. The descent through Vignettes.
Yeah.
It's a great descent, but there is a 90-degree bend which can have some gravel on it. So again, just be careful down there. You kind of go through some trees and it bends around to quite a sharp left. And just be careful on that corner there, because there's always farm machinery and things, or there can be farm machinery around. So just be careful going down that section. And then what is there to say about the rest of this? It's just a flat, straight section. We have a time trial segment, don't we?
Here we do. Yeah.
Between Ox Hill and Tyso. So if you want to challenge yourself and go for the segment record or something like that along there is a time trial section which will be marking on the road.
It's just a bit of fun, that bit.
Just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And then you'll make your way back through Radway. Then we go all the way back across to top to kind of Gaydon, Temple Hardwick, up to Gaydon there, and then turn left and head our way back in. When we get back to Kyneton, you've got to turn right at the junction, the T junction, where you turn left out on the way out. Okay, again, it will be signposted and there will be marshalled there. If you go straight on, you'll be going the wrong way. All right, so when you get back to Kyneton, you do need to take that right turn, and it'll take you back up to Combrook via the traffic lights again.
We've had another question come in about the traffic lights. Is how do you know if how will you know if a cyclist has stopped at the traffic lights or not? We will have marshals on those traffic lights, as Dave mentioned. I think you might have come in a little bit late on that bit. There will be marshals on the traffic lights. You need to shout your number to them, and they will record how long you stop for. So please, we didn't mention that earlier.
Yep.
Please shout your number to the marshal at the traffic lights. There'll be one on the way out, and there'll be one on the way back with a list, and they will be recording how long you stop for, and then that will be taken off the times off your finish time.
And your number will be written on the back of your hand if you can't remember what your number is. Hopefully it's still there after the swim. Okay, so the marshals will try and have a look at your number, but like Corinne says, if you can try and help them out. They won't be able to
see, because you'll have your race number will be on your back.
Yeah.
So they won't be able to see your race number. You need to shout it to them.
Just a quick mention in terms of horses. There are lots of horses and stables and things in the area. We have taken the time to notify the stables to make sure that they're aware of what's going on. So hopefully there won't be too many horses out, but if there are, then you obviously need to do the right thing in terms of slowing down and riding really wide and slowly past the horses. Please, let's not find ourselves on social media with cyclists buzzing horses on both sides and all that kind of stuff. So please be careful and play it safe when you're going past horses. Anything else?
Nope.
No. We'll run through all those questions in a second once we get through this. Okay, so you're now back in transition. The mountain line, sorry, back in COMPTON VERNEY, the mountain line will be nice and clearly marked. You get off before, I always said after the mountain line.
I thought you were
before the mountain line, okay? Get off before the mountain line, because that's another place that the officials like to hang around and make sure that you're doing the right thing there. So get off before the mountain line.
You must have a foot down before the mountain line, so not just on your pedals rolling over mountain line. Foot down before the mountain line.
Yeah, yeah, and then you'll be ushered back in towards the transition zone, which will be the same entry point as you went to before. You go in, you get your bike. You get your trainers on, get yourself ready to go out on the run leg.
You must again have your bike racked before you take off your helmet.
Yeah.
So just remember that the transition thing is at the start. If you want to look at the transition.
Okay. All right. What page is that? Do you know?
12.
Okay. Right. Should we bring that up now? Let's have a look at that. So let's just quickly show you that while we're here, just so as we've got that. Oops. Just so as we've got that covered. There we go. So you can see the little orange dotted line there. You're going to be coming in up here, back into the transition, top of transition, sort yourself out in transition, and then you're going to run out. The run out isn't quite there, it's a little bit further down than that. You're going to run down here through the trees and onto the run down in this direction here, which we'll cover next. Right, I've lost where I am now. Where was I? Run. Right, give me 2 seconds, find out where we were. Run, here we go. So you run down through the giant avenue of redwood trees. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Onto the gate, onto the Old Town Meadow. You will then run through the meadow. Well, let's bring up the map again so you can see the map here. Here we go. So, can I zoom in? Is it going to let me zoom in? There we go. Look at that. Okay, so we're going to run out. This is Old Town Meadow, so you run up and round. This is a grassy, well, it's a field. It's a meadow which has been going to have little trails mown into it. So it's going to be nice and short, but it is a field with fairly long but mown grass. The surface is okay. It's a well-used walkers route, and we've obviously looked at, been around it lots and lots of times in the past. But just still be aware of your footing a little bit going through there.
It's not muddy, or
no, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be.
It's not normally muddy. It's just like mown grass paths and sort of about a metre wide or something like that. So it's not you're not going to be fighting through long grass.
So the first section here is a little uphill, it's a little incline on the grass there. Might be a little bit of a leg sapper after you just got off the bike, but it's all good fun. And then across the top here, you're going to run, just follow it round, follow the edge of the field round, and then onto the Lighthorn Road there.
Which is where you will have cycled down earlier. So you'll recognise that a little bit. Yeah,
so you come out onto the main road, or say the main road, onto the road. It's a fairly minor road. Turn right, follow it round here, and we are going to have an additional aid station there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've decided to put an additional aid station in there. So we'll talk about aid stations when we get to the other one. So another aid station on the left-hand side of the road there in the lay-by. You're going to run around this route here, which is all road, again, fairly minor roads. There are going to be some points where you need to cross from one side of the road to the other. Some of them will be marshalled, some of them won't be. So obviously, please take your time and be careful running across the road. Do you want to talk about that section up there?
Well, just to say, we'll be following standard rules of the road of running pedestrians on the right-hand side. So you will be running on the right-hand side of the road. So as Dave said, there will be points there where you will need to cross the road and cross back again, but we want to make sure that everybody's just running on one side of the road. So if there's traffic coming, there's plenty of space for them to get through, and they're not trying to watch people, watch pedestrians on both sides of the road. So please run on the right.
Yeah, and this junction here, is that, what number is that? I can't see that. Number 14 there.
That's 14K.
Yeah, that's actually on the second lap. But that on that junction there, as you can see, it's quite a complicated 5-way junction. You don't actually go as close to the Fossway here. You kind of nip round the corner, but you are crossing from one side of the road to the other twice effectively here. So really be careful on this junction. We're going to have a marshal on that junction.
You've got 2 marshals on that junction.
Yeah, so just be careful going across there. So you run up a slight hill here, down a little hill here, and then turn right onto this little track. So this is like kind of compacted farm track, if you like, running up here, kind of a gravelly type surface. I've seen a question pop in about road shoes. I would wear road shoes personally. It's a very mixed bag in terms of different surfaces, but with the weather, hopefully, as long as it doesn't pour down with rain all week, you should be absolutely fine in road shoes. If we do think it's going to be super muddy, which is very unlikely, we will kind of update you, but I think you'd be absolutely fine with road shoes.
Yeah, there's one short section where there's that can get muddy if it's been really wet, but the rest of it, those tracks are stone tracks, and the bits through the meadows are just grass, so they're not slippery unless it's wet grass. Obviously, can be slippery, but personally, I'd go for road shoes. I wouldn't go for anything like your Vaporflies or anything. I don't think it'd gain you much off road, but it's pretty good surfaces, so you don't need trail shoes, I wouldn't say.
No. Okay, so we've got the trail here to the first aid. Oh, sorry, that'll be the second aid station now. So similar to the bike, so you will have, in fact, there'll be pre-filled cups of
water, Fuel 5, or cola, flat cola.
Yeah, there we go. Also gels and
Bananas.
that's it. Is it bananas, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, bananas as well on that one as well. So that's the aid station there. Then we follow the track down. I'm hoping you can see my little cursor there. Down to the main road. This is another area you need to be careful with because you're crossing the road again here. So that, again, there will be marshals, so just care needs to be taken across there. Down onto Park Farm, across the farm. This is grass along here, and it's normally got sheep in it, but it's got some marked out kind of I don't know what you call them, the yellow posts.
The footpath.
Posts.
Standard footpath signposts, but we'll have our own arrows on there as well. But you'll be running across the centre of the field. Again, it's quite a nice scenic bit because you can see down to the other lake down there, and it's quite a nice little stretch that.
But again, just be careful along there because and try and stick to the kind of the markers and stay on the actual proper course, as it were, because we don't want you kind of going down any holes or anything like that. It's a well-trodden route, so you'll be fine as long as you stick to that. Then we go through the woods there at the back of the bottom end of the lake, and this little twisty, windy bit down here can be muddy, and it's probably the most poorest surface on the course. It's quite a steep little descent. It's only about 20-30 meters or something like that, but it gets really, really muddy in the winter when it's wet, and it's lumpy and bumpy. It hasn't got much grass on it, so just be really careful down there. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you get to it. Again, I'm making it sound worse than it is. I do have a habit of making it sound that. It's not as bad. It's not as bad as it sounds.
Course, and you're making it sound awful.
All right, I'm trying to be ultra safe and careful. I'm trying to help them.
Don't put them off; they won't come.
All right, so down there, and then you get to the village of Combrook. What's that number there? Number 8. And then this is a beautiful little climb up here. You're going to love that one. So there's a little climb out of Combrook. Follow the road round, and then on lap 1. There's a split of courses here. Lap 1, you turn right and follow the road round here, and then again across the main road into Lodge Farm, and then carry on going through Lodge Farm, and then back onto the Lighthorn Road, and you effectively do the same thing again. Okay, so you come all the way back round for the second lap. So we're now on lap 2. So we come up the lovely little climb again. You're going to love it the second time round even more than the first. We're then going to turn left into the woods, down through the woody trail. Again, depending on what the weather's like, it might be a little bit slippy down there.
It's not too bad, that one. It's
Okay.
it's a fairly solid vehicle trail through that bit of the woods, so it's not nasty, muddy, or rutted through there.
Okay, all right. You're very positive.
I know. I love it. I love running that bit.
No, it's very nice.
I wouldn't like it if it was really muddy.
So just as you enter the kind of as you leave the woods here, it's not very clear on this map actually, but there's still that kink in the line is there. The kink in the line, just the kicks to the right. There's effectively a footpath which goes through the middle of a field, and this is a proper kind of agricultural field, but it should be nice and clear where you need to go. You can actually go straight on, and we need to make sure there's a sign there to make sure they follow the right one.
There's 2 footpaths at this point, so you could go straight on down to the road, or you bear right, and our route bears right, so we will have a signpost there.
Yeah.
It's very clearly marked. It's a field of crops which has got a clear footpath through it, so it should be fine.
Again, across the road here. So again, we're crossing the road. Be careful, and entering COMPTON VERNEY estate again. You're then going to go up and round through the trees back to the original gate you went through right at the start, when you're going to run around the edge of the meadow this side, and then back into the grounds a little bit further down, and then onto a glorious finish in front of the house there. So it's a really nice run. It's a real mixed bag of surfaces and terrains and this kind of stuff. But again, it's not really I wouldn't call it an off-road course, like we talked about before. It's definitely a road shoe course. So hopefully that speaks volumes for the actual kind of overall the type of course it is. Anything else to say about the run course that you can think of?
It's not a PB course, but it's a beautiful course.
Yeah. Well, it's not all about PBs, is it? It's not all about PBs. Okay, so that's it. You've finished. So you'll finish. You'll cross the finishing line. There'll be staff to welcome you there. If you're lucky and you've earned it, you may get a medal, or you might get a few other things as you cross the finishing line. There will be drinks and things as you finish, and there's a stretch tent for you to sit and chill out in, and there's some food at the end there. The garden shed, we're going to be there for you to. You're going to want to go and get family and things like that. But there's a food outlet there for you as well, and then that's that in terms of the race. Okay.
Shall I just nip back to, there was a question about the mount and dismount line, whether they were on the road. No, they're not on the road. They're on the driveway to COMPTON VERNEY. So it's a tarmac driveway, and you'll be mounting and dismounting there before you get to the main entrance.
Should we, because we're going to kind of go on to technical kind of tidy up points at the end here. Mm-hmm. Can we? Is there anything else that we need to cover on in terms of questions at this stage, do you think, Corinne?
I don't think so. There's just one last one that's just come through about any physios at the end.
Okay. No, we don't have a physio. Hopefully you won't need a physio at the end. But no, we don't, unfortunately.
No, so in terms of the COVID guidance, massage hasn't been something that you could do up until the new guidelines came out this week, which was then too late to organise a number of massage therapists at the end. So there won't be any physios. Yeah, there was one question about timing chips. They will be part of the race pack at the start at registration.
Something else that we forgot was in there.
We were just testing. So yeah, you will get your timing chip and ankle strap in your race pack. You will be asked to remove them yourself at the finish line and put them in a bucket.
Okay.
Please make sure you do return them, or else they will be charged for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounded very serious then.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know how much. I can't remember how much, but I think they're about £5.
Yeah, we'll come chasing after you. Okay,
we'll
obviously.
Know your number.
We're not going to spend 3 hours going through the whole rules of triathlon with you, but we will touch on a few bits and bobs in a second. But please make sure you're aware of the triathlon rules. There is a link in the document itself, particularly things like drafting. Okay, so that's the big one that catches most people out. So please, we'll cover that in a second. Withdrawing from the race at any point during the race, if you're unable to continue, you must notify a member of staff. Okay, so a member of the Do3 team. Everyone will have high visibility jackets on with our 3 logo on it, so you should be able to identify us pretty easily. So again, just make sure we can't have people disappearing off, because we need to know where everybody is, obviously for safety reasons.
And you must return your chip.
And you must return your
chip.
chip.
So if you withdraw at any point during the race, you must notify someone and return your chip.
Results.
Otherwise, we'll be looking for you out on the course.
So we are using a company called StewWeb for our race timing. So there will be obviously fully times and splits and all that kind of thing. Results will be updated live on the stewweb.co.uk website. And the official results will be published once everything's kind of been ratified. We put all the adjustments in for the traffic lights and that kind of thing. All right, so there will be some results coming through, kind of provisional results prior to the final results being published. So prizes, we are giving prizes to. I got questioned on this actually, didn't I? We're giving prizes to the top 3 overall finishers in the male and female categories, because I said just overall, and I meant male and female, but I got yes, overall male. So we're giving 6 out. Okay, 6. So first prize £250, second prize £150, and third place I should say is £100 for the middle distance race. So hopefully you guys will be looking to bag some of that cash. Trophies will also be awarded to the age group categories in terms of senior, which is 40 and below, veteran, which is 40 to 49, super veteran, which is 50 to 59, vintage. I love that.
That's not our terminology. That's standard terminology. We wish to point out we didn't come up with that terminology.
Vintage. God, it's kind of Anyway, I'm not sure I'd rather be vintage or super vet. I don't know. But anyway, vintage male and female. So there'll be just the age group winners in those particular categories will get a nice little trophy as well. There'll be photographers on the course, so make sure you give those guys a smile. So there'll be photographers taken by Charles Whitten Photography, photographs I should say, and they'll be published on his website. There will be some low resolution images for you to download for free. If you want some super snazzy high res ones, you do have to pay for them, but that's on the Charles Whitten website, which again the link is in your booklet. There will also be other photographers. We've got a team of videographers and photographers and drone flyers and that kind of stuff, so there'll be some nice stuff coming out post race as well, which we'll hopefully be able to get to you before long. Next year's race date has been provisionally set at the 7th of August, so hopefully you'll be all gagging to enter that again after having just put yourself through it in the year 1. It did sell out this year. The race has been sold out, so yeah, make sure you get your bookings in next year. And anything else I can think of?
No.
Any more questions? Is there questions on this sheet?
No. Somebody said it isn't vintage. As I'm 60 plus, isn't vintage the best? Well,
yes,
vintage
of
wine
course.
is the best, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah.
So maybe it is.
Yeah. Get better with age.
Did you want me to touch on?
Oh yeah, rules.
Drafting.
Drafting.
Yeah. Very quickly. Just on the drafting rules for those who aren't aware, it is a non-drafting race. So the rules for middle distance are that you must not be any closer than 12 meters to the bike in front of you. So it's just the bike section that this is relevant for, but you must stay 12 meters behind the bike in front of you, and that's measured from the front of the wheel of the front bike to the front of the wheel behind. If you are allowed to enter that drafting zone if you overtake, and you have 25 seconds to overtake, and as soon as you enter that drafting zone you must overtake. You can't go into the drafting zone, drop back, into and drop back. You must make the pass once you have entered the drafting zone. If you are overtaken, you have to make continuous progress backwards out of the drafting zone. So you can't sit behind somebody who's just overtaken you. Even if they've used all their gas up to get past you, and then sit up and slow down once they're past you, it's still up to you to drop back out of the drafting zone. You can't overtake them back until you've dropped back the 12 meters. And there will be motorcycle officials out on the course, and they will be checking for drafting. So you may, if you're sitting in somebody's drafting zone, you may get a warning or a time penalty. And if you do it more than once, you may get disqualified. So the motor officials will be out there watching for that, and they will also be watching for dangerous riding, which includes things like undertaking, so overtaking someone on the wrong side, crossing the central line on a road, or overtaking stationary vehicles or things like that. So do make sure you are riding safely at all times and you're following the road. What else do we need to say? Drafting vehicles, you need to be even further back from vehicles. So you need to sit 35 metres, which is a really long way back behind other vehicles, so cars, lorries, etc. Obviously, if you are approaching a junction and you come up behind a queue, that's fine, but you mustn't be gaining advantage from sitting behind a vehicle. Any penalties for drafting will go on the penalty board, which will be at the finish line. Anything else I need to say about rules?
So just answer the question. Ask the question there. How quickly do we have to drop back? 12 meters.
It's unclear in the British Triathlon guidance rules these days. It used to say 5 seconds to drop back out of the drafting zone. It now says you must make continuous rearward progress out of the drafting zone. So as long as you're dropping back and you're not maintaining the same speed as the bike in front, then that's what's in the rules.
We have obviously had meetings with British Triathlon and the officials, and like Corinne just says, ultimately this is about people trying to gain an advantage. So they do use their common sense. So if you do get stuck behind a car and there's clearly no advantage to be gained by you, kind of, if they're holding you up, then don't panic. You're not going to suddenly have to go and drop back from that. But just if you're genuinely doing the best you can and you're not trying to gain any advantage, they should be able to see the difference between that, if that makes sense. So I don't think there's anything else we need to cover on that.
No,
that
cover
side
litter,
of things,
which is obviously the most important one. If you can carry gels with you, you can carry them home. Even if it's just stuffing the wrappers up the bottom of your shorts, please make sure you do not drop gel packets or anything else on the route. It's one of the most grumbled about issues with races is athletes dropping gel wrappers and bits of plastic on the route, and that's the most likely cause of races not being allowed to happen again. So please carry your litter back with you. Put it down your tri-suit, in your bento box or wherever, but take it away with you, please.
We've got some of the questions which came on the pre-race questionnaire as well. I was going to scan through these and see if there's anything else we haven't already covered. How much is the car park on the day? There's no charge for the car park, so that's good. Prizes for females and male finishers? Yes, there are. Can the bikes be racked and left on Saturday night? Unfortunately, no. We can't, for security reasons, and actually because of the way that the COMPTON VERNEY is set up, most of our setup's actually being done overnight. So for that reason, no, you're going to have to. You can obviously register the night before on Saturday, but you can't rack until the Sunday morning. Someone's popped up the question, and this is kind of linked in a way. Can you arrive Saturday evening in camp? If you want to, we're only taking campers, like literal campers, camper vans and cars with caravans, if you pre-book, and you can book via it's through the app, is it? Is it through the app or through the website? You can book book it through there.
I'm not sure on that, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise,
I think it's through the app.
Email inquiries at do3.co.uk.
Yeah. Sarah Jane will sort that out.
If it's not on the app.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it's on the app. So if it's tents and that kind of thing, no, unfortunately, not this year. We were looking at doing that, but that hasn't. We haven't been able to do that, unfortunately, this year. If you are camping in a camper van or you are staying in a caravan overnight, please be aware that there are limited facilities there. There will be some portaloos and things, but it's not a campsite, so you will have to be fairly self-sufficient. And we will be doing a certain amount of setup, so it shouldn't be too bad. But just so as you're aware, there will be some kind of movement fairly close by. Although you are at the end of the car park, so you should be okay.
There was a swim warm-up on there.
Will you be able to do a swim warm-up before the start? No, unfortunately not. The way the whole thing has been organised, it's very difficult to allow that to happen, unfortunately. So
we're trying to use the whole. Well, we are using the whole of the lake for the course.
Yeah.
So there isn't space to to get in and have a warm up beforehand, because obviously there'll be swimmers in beforehand. So.
And the reality is, because of the way we're running the time trial start, you may do a warm up and then you've got to queue up for 20 minutes, half an hour or something before you actually kind of get into the water. So you may actually start feeling worse if you've warmed up before that. So yes, that question is no, unfortunately. So. Any plans for the roadworks? We've covered that. Do we rack bikes on a Saturday? We've covered that. Are there arrows showing which directions? Yes, there's arrows. Will also be if there's any objects in the road in terms of kind of raised manholes and potholes and that kind of thing, we will be going out and marking those just to make sure that you're aware of those as well. Apart from that, the course should be nice and clearly marked.
Cut off.
Is there a cut off?
Yeah. Is there a cut off?
Technically, there are cut-off times, but the reality for this particular race is we're going to be pretty lenient on that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. The technical cut-off times are an hour and 10 for the swim, isn't it? Or and then was it 4 hours for the bike?
I can't remember.
We're not concerned about cut-offs, which is why it's not high on our radar. So it's not. We're trying to run this in such a manner that it's kind of welcoming and that you shouldn't have to worry too much about that kind of thing. So don't worry about cut-offs. Parking locations.
That doesn't mean you can stop off at the cafe though and have lunch along the way.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we on the bike we do have people at the back of the race, so we will be keeping an eye on people that are right at the back. So we will be aware of people who are towards the rear of the bike. So just so as you're aware of that. Do we need to show race number on our front and back? I think it's back only, isn't it?
You show your race number on your back for the bike and on your front for the run. So if you've got a race belt, obviously you will switch it round between. If you don't have a race belt, you will get 2 numbers in your pack, and you'll need to have one pinned on the front and one pinned on the back.
And do we remove wetsuits in the transition area? So this is from somebody who says they're a newcomer, a newbie. So you can take. Some people will start removing the wetsuits as soon as you get out of the water. What we don't want you to do is to stand right by the exit and start taking your wetsuits off there, because there'll obviously be people coming up behind you. So very often what people will do is they will get out of the water and they'll start to strip off the top half of the wetsuit and then take off the legs when you get to transition. Or you could run the whole way to transition and take the whole thing off there. But please don't congregate. It'd be a nightmare around the get out area taking wetsuits off there. Please make sure you're well clear of the actual kind of the area where people are getting out of the lake. Any more?
They did actually put an explanation of how transition works. So you as Dave showed you in the earlier, you'll be running out of the lake into the top of transition, run to your bike. So the bike racks are numbered, and you should remember where you racked it. Hopefully, go the right side of the racks, and then take your wetsuit off, hat and goggles off, put them down by your bike, put your helmet on first, and then take your bike off the rack. You run out, pushing your bike out of the other end of transition, run to the mount line, and get on after the mount line. So you have to take a step over the mount line before you get on your bike.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay, I think we're done. So hopefully that's given you the information you need.
Oh, someone's just asked a question. Can we have a crate in transition? We'd rather no boxes, please, for space. You can have a bag in transition, but no boxes, please.
Yeah. If you've got any more questions, this has been recorded, so it will go out and it'll sit on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else it goes. But those are the 2 main places. If you've watched this, if you're watching it any other time than 5:30 on Monday afternoon, it's not live. But you can still ask questions and they'll still find their way through to us. Or if you run a really guarantee you get a reply, because sometimes they can be missed on social media. Send inquiries, an email to inquiries@do3.co.uk, and we will make sure that gets answered for you as soon as we possibly can. But I think that's pretty much everything.
Yep.
Apart from that, I hope you have a fantastic day. You know, like I say, you've trained hard for it. You've put so much work into getting into kind of shape that you are and getting yourself ready to race. We've put a lot of work into trying to make this as, you know, we've been to quite a few races between us, and we know what good races are like, and we're hoping that you'll find what you want in our race. All right, so Ian, one more question. Okay, this is the last question. Otherwise, the dinner will be in the dog. Do we need a race license? Okay, so um, in terms of British Triathlon license, so you will have entered either as a BTF member or as a non-BTF member. If you're a BTF member, you need to bring and show your BTF license, race license. So you should have that. If you haven't got one, then you will need, or in fact, you will have paid an additional £5. That additional £5 goes straight to British Triathlon, and that's for your one-day license. All right, you don't get a license as such for that. It's just the fee that we pay to British Triathlon to license you for the day. So when you entered, you will have either had one or not. What's the other option? If they haven't,
if you entered as a BTF member but you don't have your license with you, you will need to pay for a day license on the day, because we'll have no proof that you're a member. So you must bring your license with you. They're not issuing cards anymore, so having it on your phone is acceptable. If you log into your BTF account, you will be able to you can see your license on there, so you can show us that at check-in.
Okay.
Start list will be we'll have a start list with all your times as soon as everybody's time, or once we've got as many swim times as we can. We've given a cut-off of tomorrow for people to enter their swim times. So once we've got all the swim times, then you will be getting your starting times.
We're not far away from that now.
That'll be Wednesday onwards.
Yeah, okay, so we're nearly there. Okay, good. That's it. We're going to call it a day. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. And we'll see you on Saturday, or what day is it? Sunday?
Saturday or Sunday, yeah.
All right. Bye-bye from me.
Bye-bye.